Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for spending your valuable time with the Adapt 2030 channel as we reach the time of extremes. Check out this hail-sized Texas high-pressure system over Mexico is going to continue to bend. Severe and extreme weather. Anywhere you see the pinks. Millions of Mormon crickets in Nevada. Climate reanalyzer shows 2-meter world temperatures spiking. At the same time, Greenland ice spikes, refuses to melt during the melt season. We got snow in June. Still have snow covering areas previously melted in Pakistan. 200,000 cows gotta go. Farmer buyout scheme, Dutch farmers. And there were times past when humanity worked together to get through these changes of cycles. We're gonna have to do it again. And the year of extremes continues. The amplification as our geomagnetic poles scream past 40 degrees north. Oh my word, look at the size of the hailstones, 5-inch. But remember, in the Maunder Minimum, they talked about bowling ball sized hail some 400 years ago. Sanger, Texas, about the same size. This is going to increase from here. Biblical references, Grand Solar Minimum references, historical references. This is tiny compared to what's inbound. And a quick inbound for at least the next week to two. There's this high pressure system over Mexico. And what you see is that bending of jet streams and precipitation flows, extreme weather's moving along that line. And a better look here, pivotal weather giving us this one. Anywhere you see those pinks, that's where that boundary layer is. And for sure, the extremes of tornadoes, that hail is right in that band. That will continue to stay in place until that high pressure system moves out of Mexico. If it moves north, well, Tennessee and Virginia will get that tailing end of it. If it moves further south, central Texas and Louisiana are going to get it. It just depends where that high pressure moves. And the result is more extremes. Now, Arkansas hail reports June. This is the year 2000 through 2023. Look at the amount of hail, 127 reports, doubling the 2001 previous record. So what is changing? Do you think it would be more moisture in the atmosphere because of the Hunga Tonga eruption finally making its effects known to humanity? And how would the powers that be run with that? In addition, insect life is responding to these same electromagnetic changes that we're seeing, causing some of these extreme events. Millions of Mormon crickets invade parts of Nevada. But apparently in Elko, crickets are blanketing roads where they're causing cars to skid off the roads because there's no traction, because there's so many of them. And I thought, okay, let me look at this thing. And this is what it's like on the roads, in the yards, in the parking lots, up on the sides of buildings. Arachnophobia. What's the proper term for cricket phobia? And because wherever you are on this planet, it's a blowtorch right now. It's the hottest ever. Let's move over to Greenland. Scenes of ice shall cool us down. Use your mind to create the air conditioning around you, I guess. Why is nobody talking about Greenland any longer? I wonder. Oh, because if we go to the Danish Meteorological Institute, the DMI, blue is gains on Greenland, red is ice loss. Now this is June 14th. That's the surface mass balance. But what I'm really focused on is the chart below it. And it looks like it's trending, well, it should be melting, but it's not. So I thought June 15th, all right, has to be changing by now. You see the headlines everywhere. Blowtorch Earth. Blue is gains, red is losses. I'll let your eyes interpret what you see. It's just graphs and data. Bloomberg is warning of a severe economic reset, and gold appears as the caged bull waiting a catalyst. JP Morgan warned, cut stocks, buy gold, and hold your cash. Wells Fargo said gold is in a super cycle that could last another 6 years. And worst case scenario, gold at 3,000. It's as simple as calling Patriot Gold Group today. Find out why they're A+ rated, Consumer Affairs top rated gold and silver company nationwide. Patriot Gold Group offers the no fee for life IRA, where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold or silver on qualifying rollovers. 888-546-7020. Call to get your free investor guide today. And now on with the video. In a different way to look at it, the surface mass balance on gigatons per day on the melt or the gain. And generally, we should be well into the melt now, but that blue line at the top there shows that we are well in multi-standard deviations above that. It's not. And look at the blue line screaming through. Anything from the 1981 to 2010 mean. What is going on? Why don't I widen that out for you for a second? I see a complete disconnect from the end of May through June. That blue line is where it sits in the totals. That gray that you see generally dips off into melting during this time. What is happening with our systems on the planet? And jumping over to the Arctic definition. This is one of the best maps you'll ever find from Arctic Portal. It really defines high Arctic, low Arctic, subarctic. So then you can really get where the thermal boundaries are, and when you can read through the news, you can overlay this and see exactly what they're talking about. Or obfuscating means hiding. Northern Hemisphere ice extent. This comes from the University of Maine and Climate Reanalyzer. 2023 are the bunch of dark squares moving through the center of that. Gee, scratch my head, what's happening? But then Climate Reanalyzer also, New York Post, Washington Times, they love this one. It's the hottest data set on the web, bar none. Except maybe NOAA, which comes in a close second. 2-meter temperature world means ground temperatures 90 south to 90 north. Black lines this year screaming northward, way outside. Standard deviations broken again. So we're seeing it with the ice gain on Greenland, and we're seeing it with the world temperatures. Wherever you look, there's extremes that are so many standard deviations, it should make your head shake and say, whoa, what is going on? But then we look at the snowfall. Anywhere you see color right here is snowfall occurring on the 18th of June. Wondering what's going on there. How many inches would that be? Let me see. Pinks going into the reds, 8 to 10 inches. Western Canada. Now let's jump over to Pakistan for a second. Pac Weather holding this one up for us here. June 2023, same exact location compared to May of 2022. This was on June 5th. What do you think about the melt occurring or not? See, this is something happening in the Northern Hemisphere. Is it because of the Hunga Tonga eruption or the Shivelush eruption? Either one affecting? Not sure. Record-breaking cold sweeping the Baltic region. Did you see this one in the news? Bet you didn't. New absolute June cold record for Estonia. Very light purple. Those are the temperature anomalies. Something like 12 to 16 degrees Celsius below the normal. Which is why we're going to be responsible for our food. Because you cannot tell me with a straight face that agriculture is going to be able to handle these extremes back and forth. I don't care where we go. If it's cold or if it's hot, don't care. Plants don't like it. Yields decline because of it. There's no way that we can possibly think for 1/5 of 1/8 of a second that our ag yields are going to be the same with all of this upsetting in whatever systems we're in. You're going to be responsible for your own food production and protein. Protein is going to be a big one. You're going to have some sort of protein coming in. You can't survive on lettuce. So if you do want to look for some birds here, bring the girls out. Golden laced, Wyandotte, barred rock. I have several of those. Excellent egg layers, very docile, very nice, easy to handle. Rhode Island red, light Sussex, road rocks, gold line, and dot rock. So when you think about the amount of feed that you're going to drop in on the birds here to get your eggs out, you probably want to mix a bag of scratch grain along with the layer pellets, 50 pounds of each. Looking at about $25 or $30, and if you have 15 or 20 birds, they'll last you about 3 weeks. But then what's the eggs that you're going to get out of that? Now, speaking of birds, let's drop back in time a little bit. This is from the Wildlife Society, Leaders in Wildlife Science, Management, and Conservation. December 5th, 2019, climate change is making birds smaller. This comes from the University of Michigan evolutionary biologist. But then on the right, we see November 11th, 2011, why birds are getting bigger because of climate change. This comes from San Francisco State University. What is it? They're getting smaller, they're getting bigger. There's a lot of opposites happening here. But many solutions are going to be required. So if you're going to plant, harvest, weed, or whatever you're going to do in your rows, we're all going to come up with different solutions. I mean, this is a great one here. But is it for everybody? You decide. Ireland culling 200,000 cows. And I thought, 200,000 cows, that's a lot of cows. 600 million euro to pay the farmers for this to meet emission targets. That's 65,000 cows a year. They need to go bye-bye. And the stories keep pouring in. You know, this is a major thing happening. And it looks like a total of 10% of total livestock herds need to be done away with. And a little bit deeper into the articles here, Irish farmers are rebelling against a proposal to cull tens of thousands of cattle. And this is interesting where it says some farmers will refuse. So what if they do refuse? Then what happens? So this is the world we're coming into. If people refuse to give up their animals, then what? Then what? Really? You're coming to take my food away. Well, the communists do this every time. You go, whatever chapter of history, if we go through Stalin, Lenin, if we go to the Bolshevik Revolution, whatever it is, they take the food and the farming implements away. That is standard operation. There's actually a proper name given for this called the climate cull. So you have to get rid of animals to meet emission targets. But thank God California banned plastic straws, you know what I mean? I mean, you look at John Kerry over here. We must stop growing food to meet net zero. Okay, wait, whoa. Stop for a second. We're going to stop our food production for some emission goals in the future. Thanks, John. When do we eat? What do we eat? Oh, agriculture contributes 33%. There's that number again. It's a plan. Dutch government launching the farmer buyout scheme. Remember, we saw all about the Dutch farmers trying to protect their land and their multi-generational farms that have been going on, but suddenly this year it is just too bad. No nitrogen, no farmer, no food, no future. This sums it up. At what point do people wake up and say they're stopping the food supply to humanity? I'm wondering. You think it'll be next Tuesday? Control the food supply and you control the world. See, this is where we're moving with it. Central banking does some. Control the food supply. This is what every yard should look like. This is what everybody's backyard needs to look like. If you're going to survive through this, your backyard needs to turn into this immediately. Hundreds of free plans on how to put a garden like this in your backyard. Enough for a family of 4 and then overproduce and trade with your neighbors. Everybody needs to be on this. But homeowners associations will say we need lawns like this in the top. But no, we don't. We need more lawns like this at the bottom. And if you want to call that ornamental gardening, ornamental spinach, ornamental cabbage, whatever you like to get around the homeowners association mandates where they can then lien your properties because you'd want to grow food in your own front yard. Great. Freest country in the world. I love it. And you can see where this is all leading to. But if you don't have enough time to grow your own food at this second, you're going to need some storable foods to try to work through that, get some production, and supplement what you have stored. My Patriot Supply and Adapt 2030 3-month emergency food supply. That link's in the description box below with tonight's images, stories, graphics, and those links. Along with TrueLeafMarket.com, heirloom and organic seeds for any grow zone on the planet. If you're going to grow your own, True Leaf Market. And join Ransom Godwin and myself every Thursday night while we talk about this for 2 hours at a time. Trying to make sense of the madness around us as they try to curtail and cut and reduce and remove our food supply. At what point do people say enough? You can't stop our food. I'm going to stop rambling now. Thank you for listening. Hope you got something out of the video. Please share with your friends and families. We're all in this together. It's going to require solutions from everybody as we move through these changes. Bye for now, and I'll see you next time.